highest, grandest vision possible for your life, because you become what you believe.
Dig deep down and ask yourselves, who do you want to be?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Machitana Bongwana, welcome to it. It's In the Game with MPIXO.P, the greatest, and today is no different. We are definitely talking all things sports, but I can tell you, it's been exciting times in the ABC MPIXO.P League. It's been exciting times in the Free State because the General is making us proud, but funny enough, nationwide, Kaizer Chiefs, we saw what happened in the Nedbank Cup when Mamelodi Sundowns beat another team 6. Orlando Pirates coming through as well, scoring a number of goals, and Chiefs coming through and losing. But the General made us proud, making it to the last 16. And they got a home game again against TS Galaxy. But what has been amazing, which is something that I've been really talking about a lot, is that we've been having amazing numbers as far as the ABC MPIXO.P League is concerned in the Free State. People coming through and supporting, football, local football for that matter. And we saw the numbers going into the Nedbank Cup when the General was playing this past Sunday in that win that they had there at the Toyota Stadium. But to have a chat about all this, I've got with me Chuma Nogemane as my guest today to chat a bit of all these things that are really happening. Chuma, good day and welcome to the show.
Good day, His Excellency MPIXO.P, the greatest. Good day to your esteemed viewers as well. Nice to be here.
Chair, we just to start off the conversation, we've been seeing amazing numbers coming through to stadiums, in the ABC MPIXO.P League in different areas. What does this mean for our football in the province?
That's a valid inquiry, MPIXO. And just for the benefit of the viewers, that MPIXO refers to me as chair. It dates back to my days at CUT. I was the chairperson for at least 13 years.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to get rid of that particular title. Back to the question at hand, MPIXO, it obviously talks to, or is an indication to how people are thirsty for football in the province. And obviously, given the prevailing state of affairs that we do not have a professional side at the moment, and therefore our people obviously are flocking the ABC MPIXO.P League games. And there is so much at stake in that particular league, because as you know, we are approaching the tail end of the league.
Yeah.
And obviously any support that a team can get would obviously be of great deal of benefit. And it is not surprising that obviously the fans are coming into numbers to try and spare their teams into the last hurdle of the race, so to say. It's really refreshing to see, but obviously this particular province is known for obviously being mad soccer kind of a province. They love their football and their sport generally.
Definitely, Chair. Look, in terms of safety measures, because also when that happens, there are things that come into play. We know in the professional level, like for example in the Nedbank Cup, there were a lot of things that had to be considered. Not just people just flocking in, outside of them buying tickets. When we talk safety purposes in these games and people are moving in, I know you've worked as a safety officer in most of these events. Whether it's soccer or it's just entertainment events. How important is our people's safety? And is it something that you think we should start looking into?
No, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. MPIXO, it actually is said to obviously witness what I'm witnessing in some pockets or sections of the community. And remember, that which governs or presides over all of this, whether it's a political rally, it's a cultural event, it's a sporting event, it's a musical event, we are governed by SASRIA Act 2 of 2010. This obviously is subsequent to what had happened in Ellis Park, I think 2001. And obviously from then, a white paper in the Gazette, obviously, which sought to preside of all the events as alluded. And therefore, the issue of safety One can never overemphasize it, the importance thereof, the compliance there too as well. You cannot downplay at all.
Yeah.
Meaning, for instance, if you've got a game, let's give or take, we're talking the General versus TS Galaxy, right? We're just obviously waiting for the confirmation of the dates and times. But from the safety perspective and compliance and obviously the governance, 14 days before the actual event, I must apply for what you call categorization of that particular event with the provincial SAPS that deals with the events in the province. And all of those, obviously, they are cascaded to the national brigadier to obviously ensure that all the events that take place are known and are accounted for. So that is 14 days before. The event must be categorized, whether such event will be a low risk, would be a medium risk, or will be a high risk. It is up to that particular cluster that is referred to as ESSPC. They deliberate, they look into everything prevailing, they look into the stats, they get crime intelligence involved to say, in this area, the last 3 months, what types of crimes have been reported in this police station? And so that when the decision to categorize an event is taken, there is obviously adequate information that would inform such. But obviously, a high-risk categorization, it is only when the sitting president will be in that particular event. And obviously, we're talking a different category altogether, from the bomb squad to the sweeping to the K9s. But I will not get into details in that. But the importance of the safety, because you can never downplay, you can never overemphasize. Even at Clive Solomon's. I'm not sure if there is a Section 6 under the same act alluded to, the Sazria Act 2 of 2010. If you've got a fixture, ongoing games, meaning you've got the fixture for the whole season, what then do you do as an organizer or a safety officer? You make an application for all the home games to the said office of the SAPS provincial events, so that you do not have to do it game by game. All your home games are already enlisted. You understand? But I doubt if that is the case there, and God forbid, should anything go wrong there. And the act is clear in this. It's quite unambiguous. The safety officer, for instance, where I work, I'm a consultant.
You know what, Chair? We'll get into that just after the break. You know, let's take a quick breather. When we definitely come back, we must get into that point that you were making, because I definitely want to, hear it from the ABC Motsepe League situation. There's a lot of incidents that happen there where you find the fans are trying to act some type of way, and it endangers everybody that's there, even the people that are there to enjoy the football. But now, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we continue to have a conversation with Chuma.
Create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life, because you become what you believe.
Welcome back. We are still in conversation with Chuma, and we're talking all things your safety at the stadium, so that you know what needs to happen. Chair, we were talking about incidents where in the ABC Motsepe League, you find there's a huge amount of people that are there. I mean, we had a Bloemfontein Celtic CUT game where the numbers were amazing. We had the General Celtic game where the numbers were amazing. But in terms of safety, all those things, were they things that were looked into?
No, absolutely, MPIXO, absolutely. And that responsibility or that onus is strictly incumbent, inescapably on the home team. It's where then, whether the event is categorized as a low risk or medium risk, there must be a safety officer appointed in writing. And that letter forms part of the dossiers or the documents that must go to the events office, SAPS at 10111. Amongst other things, the fixture in question, the venue grading certificate to say this venue, in terms of fire compliance, in terms of if the venue has got some temporary structures or it's got the grandstand, all of the paperwork that seeks now to give assurance that this wall is solid, it forms part of my safety file. And it should form part of any club safety officer's file during the event. And furthermore, you also need what we call a public liability certificate. And obviously, luckily for the teams that are playing under the auspices of SAF, there is obviously that insurance. It's available. You speak to the provincial coordinator, you will be able to get that. I think it's about 1 billion. It's the same with PSL, I think it's Fedshaw. That's the insurance they're using, obviously, public liability. So all of those things are important and are inescapable. You cannot run away from that. They must be by all the teams for as long as the game takes place in a public space, and they will be public there. Whether the event is categorized or low or medium, but the SAPS and the police station within the jurisdiction in which the event takes place, they must be notified. You mentioned the CUT Celtic game and Celtic and Degeneral game.
Yeah.
Now, we had a great deal of a turnout in and as far as the supporters are concerned, particularly with the Degeneral. My official count of supporters there was just above 4,000. And it was reminiscing of the good old days. You would have seen, you were there. People really love their football. They love their teams. So the teams, the supporters, they want to push their teams onto the line, basically. And from the safety and compliance perspective, all was in order. The event, SAPS was aware of, both SAPS Provincial Events Office and as well as Kagisanong. Remember, Dr. Mlimela falls under Kagisanong in terms of the demarcation. And Colonel Greer and Colonel Ramatza were aware. I spoke with Colonel Greer, I think, 11 times in 2 hours to notify him of what is happening. Remember, every 17 minutes, as a safety officer, you must report, you must have portfolio of evidence to say the number of supporters, the mood of supporters, that which is happening, the emergency gated, the assembly point, all of that you need to communicate continuously. At some stage in that general game, I realized that it's categorized a low risk, but I needed the backup of the SAPS. You would have seen at some stage there were SAPS members that were on site. I spoke to Colonel Grill to say, Colonel, there are way too many supporters. I do not want to be a hero here, and therefore please kindly assist with the periodic patrol, or if you can do one better, get me the POP, the Public Order Policing, and the Crime Prevention Unit on site, and they were duly there, which I appreciate, and I'm grateful to the SAPS for their support.
Let's touch on the Nedbank Cup game, because I really want to touch on something on it specifically. But before, in terms of numbers, how many people did come and enjoy the game this past Sunday?
MPIXO.P, I'll tell you what, I read on social media, and social media is much of a blessing as it is a curse, because there is some information and misinformation provided there. If which do you decide to consume is really up to one's intelligence. I saw a post speaking of 23,760, and I can confirm to your viewers, because that is not the case. I wish that was the case. The official number of tickets sold and the stadium entrance, as per Ticket Pro, that is obviously a partner to the NSL, it's 7,447 people were inside the stadium. I know this for a fact because I have that particular official stats. Furthermore, we had decided that we will only use the lower pavilion of the stadium, not the secondary level thereof. You are quite conversant with the stadium. you attend all the sporting events, then MPIXO. And there is nothing worse than to open the whole 40,000-seater stadium, to have one person up there, have another one up there. So obviously, for the purposes of the resource deployment, like security, you want to have people rather concentrated where you will be able to have a good view thereof. So that is why we only opened that particular pavilion. Yes, and remember, if it's a 40,000-seater stadium, meaning each pavilion takes about 20, right? So you would see that the lower pavilion was not full to the brim. It was okay visually, but it was not full statistically and accurately, right? So it could not have been 23,000. No, 7,447 was the number of people that were inside the stadium, and I'm happy to report that it was an incident-free, and one can only appreciate the support of the cluster and the other role players.
Yeah, and Che, we're going to take another breather real quick, but a question I want you to structureize in your head right now is basically the cost that comes with it. Before this game, there were a lot of talks to say, the stadium will cost a team this much money for them to play there. Hey, the stadium will cost this, hey, this and that. We need to understand from where is this money coming from that people were mentioning, and how accurate were those numbers, if maybe it is in your knowledge. Let's take a quick break, and we are coming back to have more conversation with Chuma.
Create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life, because you become what you believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I still have Chuma with us, and earlier on, before we took a breather, I asked about spending, the specifications in terms of finances, because we saw that the chairman of the General had to even go as far as writing on social media to say, we need the ultimate support in terms of making sure that we play in a proper stadium, as we know the issues with stadiums in the Free State right now. Chuma, in your knowledge, just making sure that you get a facility of a caliber of the Toyota Stadium, how much maybe would that amount to? I'm thinking in my head, the stadium, the EMS, security that comes, a whole lot of many other things that you pay for.
That's true. There is a great deal of cost associated with that. And, if I may maybe just give you perhaps a bit of a background to say, if you look at maybe Botshabelo Stadium would have been there as their home ground, because the team from Botshabelo, ideally, they would have loved to play there, literally their home ground, so to speak. But obviously the pitch condition, remember it's teams playing at the SAFA affiliated league, playing a PSL Cup. And therefore, in terms of the standards in which the pitch condition should be in, Botshabelo was actually out. And then you look into Dr. Mlimela. Dr. Mlimela, the pitch is looking quite decent, it's playable. Empa, it's not only the pitch that is looked into or that is assessed. If you remember, before the ANC January 8th speech of 2023, when they were celebrating, I think it would have been 108 years, along those lines. The stadium, in terms of the facilities, the toilets right around, the presidential suites, the ceilings were intact. All of those were fixed, MPIXO. As a result, the stadium was able to be issued with the venue grading for that particular event, which was a good thing. I remember the municipalities can say, listen, we've got issues of service delivery, and as such, we need to prioritize certain services over the others. I'm not saying that's the case, but that's just my thinking. And therefore, the issue of maybe a stadium versus the sewage or the filling up of the potholes, but I'm not conversant to the conversations in that regard. So, Dr. Mlimela, all the toilets, anything that is shiny as far as handles, dog knobs, it's vandalized, isolated. As of the tournament, the friendly tournament, Bantu, Joanne Galaxy, Mataitai, and General, respectively. From those particular games, I know this for a fact. Those were vandalized, and as such, the facility for the PSL game and standard needed to have all of those intact in a good condition. So now that exonerated Dr. Mlimela as an option.
Yeah.
Now, remember, with every state stadium is utilized, and the primary tenants there is the rugby, Cheetahs Rugby Union. And obviously they've got their own league that they are playing in, and as such, if you need your car, because you can't give it away if you're going to use it, right? So definitely. Obviously, there were talks that the game is going to be moved, but obviously the provincial government heeded the call to say, listen, this is our team, it is representing the province, not just Botshabelo, not just Bloemfontein, but obviously it carries the hopes of the province. And it is only right and prudent that perhaps it be supported in whatever form or shape that it can get support from the province. And they obviously duly heeded that particular call. And they were able now to book or to hire the Free State Stadium. And obviously from my days at Bloemfontein Celtic, we played the very same cup, Nedbank Cup. I remember the last game we played, it was against Richards Bay. And I think we beat it 2-1. And you were not looking at less than 120,000 to secure that particular facility. Now you say, but 120,000, what informs that? You obviously look into so many things. What is the value of the actual stadium? If you were to buy the stadium and own it privately, how much would you pay in terms of the valuation? And therefore, if you're hiring it out, it must form a certain percentage of the overall cost of the actual asset, right? So that's one thing as well. Remember, there are so many variables or vulnerable items, the glasses, the doors, and all of that. Obviously, the 120,000, you get the facility, all of it, the presidential suites, meaning if MPIXO, you are hiring that, you can sublet the presidential suites or all the suites there and make money to all the corporate companies, right? You get the pitch prepared, you get everything done. Now that's just one aspect of the maybe overall cost. Remember, for a PSL game, whether it's categorized this way or that way, you must have security that is adequate. There is obviously within the Sazria Act a ratio to say for every 100 supporters or spectators, there must be a security allocated, meaning 1 is 200. But we went way beyond that. We had more security than the Act requires, meaning then there is a security cost, warm bodies that are there to ensure the safety. It comes at a great deal of a cost per person. Obviously, you need to have EMS on site, the emergency medical services, for the actual people playing as well as the supporters, because obviously the injury can and may accrue from the supporters and therefore the EMS must be resourced enough and adequately to take care of any eventuality. Are you with me? Now furthermore, there is the cleaning that must take place. There must be replenishment of the toilet papers, all of those consumables. All of those comes at a cost. If you must get a plumber on site, in the event that the water is not coming out of here, there is a cost associated to that. You need an electrical engineer on site, not on standby. Particularly if it's a game of that magnitude. You don't want the stadium's PA not to be working, and when there is an emergency message that must be spread across, there is no electricity to obviously transmit such. So you see, there are certain components within an event, and all of those, they've got cost appropriated there too.
Che, I love how you just broke it down, you know, understanding from way back when Bloem Celtic was still playing, it was 120 plus other additional costs. So you can imagine how much it is today. You know, in this very day. But Chair, thank you so much for coming through and being with us. We appreciate your time, you know, coming, teaching us of all these things that you taught us about.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the invitation. And it is my wish that obviously from the amateur, semi-professional, that the teams can do right by their communities. The issue of safety and compliance, it's not luxury or optional. It's a must.
No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Chair. Just to wrap it up, we spoke to the coach of the General as well as the man of the match. So we're going to play you that video real quick before we say goodbye to you. And as always, you know I can never drop the mic without saying this. To whom much is given, much is expected, and to whom much is expected, much is required. Every champion that is a champion today was once a contender who refused to give up. I'm MPIXO.P, the greatest. God willing, I'll see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Majitana Bongwana, listen. Nedbank Cup specialist in the Free State. And he walks away with victory today. Coach Festi, first of all, we could wrong Kapapadi how you guys walked away with the win.
Al ke ikutlwa ke le motlotlo haholo ke thabetse di player tsa ka ke thabile hore ba bang ba bona ene le first time ba bapala monana so intliste ke na le stress nyana gaming considering la o sheba di opponent the way ba ntse ba dlala ka teng leaking ya bona ntse ba sa dlala hantle maybe ke team e tla betla e make up ile kello tsa bona hore focus ya rona e ba Nedbank fela so ba tlo stress the way Majita ba executing plan ka teng I'm so happy the way ba le free ka fielding I'm so happy win ye ha se ya bona fela ke ya batho ba Free State kaofela empa ke kopa lentsonyana le special kapa ntonyana placing ene special ya hore ba iketseditse ha ba nke ba lo enjoy.
Coach, you came here very experienced as far as the Nedbank is concerned. In the Nedbank, we know the last time, hey, you got a very strong opponent, you know, in the first round. But this time around, you got an opponent, Eloring, you can go against. How was that for you to finally get an opponent that you can go pound for pound with, particularly in the beginning of the tournament?
What's about when it's how bonolo how it's a lotomani. Ho ba thata re go sa menwana hore ho ska batla yane hape ska tla pitbull yane mara he ela ga re fumana thaka tsa rona e re thusa haholo le hore re kgone ho bona rona le possibility hore ka fetela pele because bana le matla a le kana le ya rona so re ka fana ka rona kaofela then we stand a better chance ya win a match. Experience ya ka tournament ke nana e batla e sebeditse haholo ha ke mong le ba kotlisi be ke sebetsana le bona experience ya bona ka this tournament e batla e thusitse Majita haholo le di player tse mmalwa tse ileng tsa e bapala ka team tse ding e batla re thusitse le hore re be calm ke rata hape le hore di supporters tse tlileng mona na kaofela e sentse di general fela batho ba Free State kaofela a ga leboa ka nnete ntle le bona nke be game ene le difficult.
Coach, ke le wena kwa hao and all the best going forward.
Ke nna le bule ngwaneso.
D'accord. Shobafet, we're still out here at the Toyota Stadium, and man of the match in this game, Nedbank Cup. This week. I can say more. But first of all, Shoes, being man of the match, how do you feel? That was a beautiful goal that you scored there. It just, you know, gave you guys an advantage, and it worked in your guys' favor. How do you feel about that goal?
Honestly, you feel like you're more than happy, I could say, because of the goal that I have scored. It's what we've been practicing since from the beginning of the week. So we prepare for such goals, and then we prepare whenever we already have chances, whether it's a half chance or a full chance, we must capitalize on that. So overall, I feel like really happy, but not for Nafela, for the teammates, because if it's a Singapore, I don't think I would have achieved this man of the match, as well as our supporters, which is our 12th man. Listen, number 3 assist, that was a beautiful assist, but nevertheless, Arasheba generally, what did the coach say to you guys? Haleta Gaming, what was the word from the coach, you know, facing this game? Coach, he never said much, because and then if we approach a game A, the way they approach the game ntho tse ntle di tlohle. So standard se se lo reng cause ha ka thola wa checka ho tla all along so se re qetela ho lose I think last year. So re kentse mona na standard tlameile re se maintain. So ho tla mona na coach wa re ntho tse ngata o jwetsa hore this game is a motivation on its own. So it's up to us hore re nka jwang.
Shoes, congratulations first of all, and going forward in the tournament, all the best.
Ha ke a leboha rona. Thank you.
Danko.